Death Stranding is an action-adventure delivery resource game that was released in 2019 by none other than the Hideo Kojima. For those who don't know him, he is a game producer and director that has made the legendary Metal Gear Solid series. He was also the vice president of Konami in 2011, an entertainment company that has also brought legendary games like Silent Hill and Castlevania to gamers. When he left Konami in 2015 to make his own brand called Kojima Productions, fans were eagerly waiting to see what he would do next. However, when he revealed his next game, fans were confused. A game that's just walking? Delivering packages? Death Stranding is a one-of-a-kind game that most people would disregard as a mailman simulator or a walking simulator. To be fair, it is a game that combines mundane elements of checking on the condition of your boots and mapping a route to avoid sharp rocks, but also brings a gruesome twist of the world we know, death-eating invisible corpses that cling on to any sort of life that they can find. Beach things, or BTs, are those on Earth who did not survive the Death Stranding, a cataclysmic extinction event that broke humanity into pieces. For instance, the United States of America are now the United Cities of America. As a result of this, BTs cling onto any life that remains. Our normal rain has also turned into timefall, which accelerates anything that can age to its death in a matter of mere minutes. You can put the pieces together as to how the quality and condition of the cargo would fare over time in the rain. You play as Sam Porter Bridges, an introverted adult who hauls cargo around for people. Don't get me wrong, this would be really funny if it was his full legal name, but it's not. Only the first part, Sam, is actually his legal name. Porter is the identification of the type of worker that Sam actually is. And Bridges is the company that he works for, the main government entity of the UCA. Now to talk about the story of Death Stranding. Forewarning though, Hideo Kojima likes to make his plots very long and complicated, so strap in and be prepared to not be prepared. The beginning of the game showcases Sam getting stuck into a situation with BTs and therefore being guarded by a woman named Fragile. She has experienced the timefall on her own skin and informs us of a shared power with her called Dooms. These Dooms, depending on the level, can help us sense or even see BTs roaming around. She states that Sam has a level 2 Dooms to where he can sense them but cannot see them, while she has a level 3 to where she can see them. After that little science lesson, Sam heads back to Central Knot City to meet back up with the president. The president just happens to be his mom, no biggie, but she's in critical condition and tells him to find his sister Amelie and to expand the chiral network. Think of the chiral network as our real-life form of internet connection and talking to one another. Without it, we wouldn't be able to communicate as easily as we can, and we wouldn't be updated on news feed and events. Oh, and his mom literally exploded into black goo. With his mom dead and Amelie all the way out west, he's forced to keep on keeping on and start major orders to progress his journey. Throughout the game, you'll come across a man named Die Hardman, who's the director of bridges that gives you these major orders to continue the story. Your first order out to the west immediately is an incineration mission with a man named Igor. This, however, goes very bad and BTs overrun the truck. As he's about to die, he hands you a BB, or a bridge baby as they're called. Sam takes this BB along with the body that they needed to dispose to the incinerator and realizes that the baby is still alive. Sam refuses to burn this BB and takes it back to one of the bridge's bases to get it recalibrated by a man named Deadman. His main role as a doctor and being part of the medical team for Bridges, which is kind of ironic because later in the story you learn that Deadman is actually made up of more than 70% other cells from other bodies, which would classify him as a dead man. If you couldn't tell by now, Hideo Kojima went an interesting route in picking out the names for the characters by being almost quite literal with how they play a role and their personality. Fun fact, Deadman is actually voiced and played by Guillermo del Toro, who is a famous movie director. Hideo likes to put lots of famous celebrities in his video games for some reason. It's just a thing. Okay, back to the plot. BBs are little babies who were used to detect BTs that roamed the earth and played a significant role in survivors' research of the beaches and the deceased. What their research led to was that every single person has a beach. This is sort of their afterlife, their version of what they see. This research fell short very quickly, and Bridges had to terminate the use of BBs because they would only last a year before passing away inside of the pods. Along with that, other ethical concerns were raised when realized that they were taken from their still mothers. Speaking of BBs, as you progress the game and utilize the sleeping quarters, Sam appears to see flashbacks of the supposed BB. In these, we get glimpses of what appears to be the father comforting the BB and saying that they will, quote, leave together. This is because of the mother's brain death after an accident and Bridges not being able to bring her back to full health. What is to be assumed then, based on the memories right after that, is that the BB was put in a stasis pod so that way it would stay safe. All of these memories are in a random order, and Sam consults with Deadman on this and what to do next. On top of these memories, we eventually learn that the father's name is Clifford Unger through a series of war flashbacks indicating that the father was in the service. Sam is not the only one with a BB, however. There is another man by the name of Higgs Monaghan. This man's life goal towards Sam, Fragile, and anybody on Earth is to bring destruction and another extinction entity into it. Through a conversation with Fragile, we learn how evil Higgs is. He tortured Fragile beyond belief and forced her to dispose of a bomb naked in the Timefall Zone. We can easily say that Fragile has been through a lot just based on that description alone, but two other characters who have been through a lot are Mama and Lockney. There's a lot of information with these two when it comes to the story and their backstories, so we'll keep it simple for the sake of time. Mama and Lockney were conjoined twins that were separated at birth successfully. This is important to know. Essentially, Mama took frozen sperm to be the surrogate mother for Lockney, who was infertile. The baby later grew into a BT due to complications with the Death Stranding and Mama and Lockney's growing apart. But Mama says that in order to reunite her and Lockney, Sam will have to cut the umbilical cord of the BT baby, which would in turn almost kill Mama. After doing so and Mama dies, she becomes part of Lockney because of the twin and the conjoined thing that I said earlier. After the whole traumatizing family reuniting subplot, Sam keeps going further out west and meets a man named Hartman. This is different from Die Hardman and different from Dead Man. He experiences a unique condition that stops his heart after every 21 minutes, and he is on the beach for every 3. Quintessentially, he dies every 21 minutes. With this going on, he goes to the beaches to try to research how people get there, what are they made up of, and all of their information. This info, amongst lots and lots of others, are revealed when Sam finally meets Amelie. Turns out, Amelie is Sam's mom, and the whole sister plot was made up to give the people a false sense of hope for the next president. Turns out, Amelie is the next extinction event, which is why Higgs was trying to destroy you and Fragile as you progress the game. So, if Amelie isn't your sister, then is Bridget, the president, RIP, Sam's mom? To answer that question, she's more of an adopted mom. Remember those memories of the BB and Clifford that I was talking about? Turns out, that's actually you. You! The whole time you thought you were just some stuck-up normal adult who didn't care about the world, but you're actually the most important thing ever. This is all revealed through like an hour of cutscenes that involve your whole part of being the BB in the place where Clifford and Lisa was, on top of how you got to the beach that Amelie found you that I didn't even mention, which is how you were brought up by Bridget. Sam ultimately ends up deciding to keep humanity going despite his previous doubts of their survival within a Death Stranding. After all this has happened and some time has passed, Die Hardman is appointed president of the UCA. He, for some reason right after, decides to tell Sam all of his lore pertaining to his name, why he wears a mask, and what he's doing. As another what the hell moment, turns out Die Hardman actually worked with Clifford in the service. Clifford was the one who actually gave this man, whose real name is John, his nickname of Die Hardman. This is because of his sheer luck of staying alive and not dying throughout even the most dangerous and complicated scenarios. And as another bit of information, Bridget and John were the ones who shot Clifford to take Sam away to raise him out of his pod. Not to go back and forth on the plot, but in order for Sam to meet Amelie on her beach, he couldn't have the BB with him. This, alongside the whole Clifford situation and the Higgs fight and the other BT fights, left the BB critically injured. And after going through everything right after meeting Amelie, you're tasked with one final order. Lou, as Sam calls the BB, is now dead, and Sam has to traverse all the way back to the incinerator where he first found Lou. And in the final heap of a moment, Deadman tells Sam that if he wanted to, he could try to take Lou out of her pod to resuscitate her. Knowing that this is against the current America's laws and that he would have to lie low for a bit, he does so, burning his cuffs instead of Lou. As Bridget did for Sam, he takes on the adoptive role for Lou in order to protect her from the outside world. Bear with me, that was a lot, and that's not even the full entire story. It took me about 47 hours to complete this, but I totally recommend it. I mean, even with how confusing and complicated the plot is, you have all of these characters that you fall in love with and understand their backstories, and it really gives more depth on human connection. But there's a reason why I gave you the whole plot of this game. As shown here and in real life, there's a significant factor to making connections as we move through life. We as humans have always asked each other questions and more so relied on each other to survive. Either when you were a child relying on your parents or guardians, or even now with your boss paying you to live and work for their company. There are three major connections that happen in the world, and the first one is the connection between family. The connection between Sam and Amelie is one similar to other family relationships, to where you would support your mom, dad, brother, sister, anybody that you care about no matter the cause. It gets tricky because technically this doesn't need to be with your family by blood, but more so the feeling of a family dynamic. The second connection is between you and your friends. When you're with your friends, you might tell them a couple of intimate details about your life at first, and not share too much more. When your relationship with that person grows more, you experience more things and events together, so you have a tighter bond. This can be directly shown with Sam and Fragile, with the beginning cutscene being the first of many events that they have together. On top of that, Fragile talking about her experience with Higgs would also qualify under this. The last connection is the one you have with yourself. Yes, you. How you approach every situation, wondering if it's the best possible outcome and what you truly want. Lots of people see themselves through their kids. Every mother remembers that first feeling of holding their child and having their whole perspective change on what they need to live for. While I personally am not a mother and not a woman, I feel like I can confidently say that the relationship between Sam and the BB is the same. Communication lesson time. Everybody in the world can be identified as a node, which is a person that plays an integral role in group communication. There are different nodes that exist, starting off with the clique. Cliques are groups of people who regularly communicate, typically found within schools or group projects. For instance, this could be people under the umbrella group of bridges or even Fragile Express. The second term is a bridge linker, a person who communicates with two cliques regularly and is a member of either of the cliques, i.e. someone who is in basketball and the chess club. Some very vague examples could include possibly Fragile or Deadman or even Die Hardman with their connections to the outside world. The third term is a liaison, a person who communicates with two cliques regularly but is not a member of each of the cliques, someone who may know people from the basketball team and the chess club but do not actively engage in their activities. My example for this would be Sam at the beginning of the game. While he is in bridges, he does not care about either or. The fourth and last term is an isolate, a person who does not regularly communicate with other people, a loner, observer from a distance. I can confidently say that this is the beginning of the story for Sam because of his reluctancy when talking to Fragile and him being so distant with even Bridget and Die Hardman. The gameplay for Death Stranding only amplifies the need for connection and allows the world to tell you how deserted it is on the surface. Apart from the characters listed previously, you practically don't meet anyone apart from terrorists labeled mules. All in all, being isolated gives you a sense of how important it is to have someone. I believe that with the gameplay, there is also an emphasis on seeing the boring and appreciating whenever you do see someone else by highlighting the more mundane aspects such as walking or holding onto your cargo or even adding and removing cargo. While there are weapons and grenades and zip lines and parachute launchers and all of this cool stuff, it almost feels as though that's not the highlight of the game. The game almost forces you to highlight upon mapping your route and making sure that you don't topple over and waiting out the rain. Oh, and on top of all that, try soothing a screaming crying baby in a pod while holding your breath to stay away from the BTs, all while you're in an age accelerating time storm with no way to protect the 440 pounds of cargo on your back. I think that the payoff is pretty good, however. You can shower, take a fat dump, and pee. And you can pee inside and outside. Thank you, Hideo Kojima. Thank you. But why do we need to know this? Why is this significance so important to us? It is because we need to interact with people. We need to make human connections to survive, to find out what's important to us and to live for it, just the same way that Sam lived for Luis. Go out there and find that connection that's so strong you'd live for it. Congratulations, now you know the Death Stranding 1 story and an analysis done by a communication student. If you made it this far, I greatly appreciate you watching this entire thing. This took a very long time and I hope it was worth your attention. This is not the end of Sam's story, however, because Death Stranding 2 on the Beach has just released at the time of recording this. So if you want to see if that game is equally as important as this one, let me know and I might have an excuse to shell out $70 for a video game. Once again, thank you very much for watching this video. Good day, good afternoon, and good night.